How's it going, guys? It's me, Migoy, and it's been a while since I've done a talking head video, and I think this is the first time I'm doing this for this channel. But anyway, I'm gonna talk about this. What is this, you ask? This is a Magic the Gathering Commander deck that I got for only $12. Now, is it a good deck? We'll see. So I got this from an online store that, well, they sell cards, and what they do is they make budget decks using commons, uncommons, mostly draft chaff, and they turn them into like playable, supposedly playable standard and commander decks for the most part. I don't think they've done stuff for Pioneer or Modern, but I guess budget decks, like ultra budget decks of this extent, don't really have a home in those formats. But for this, I just wanted to see if the budget decks that they've had for offer, because they've been doing this for a while now, I wanted to see if they were actually any good. And it's nice that it came with a, 3D printed deck box. It's not the greatest, but it's also literally better than nothing. It's nice how they also included tokens. I don't think this has every token. It's cool how it comes with them. I was not expecting this at all. For the deck itself, I got the Jolly Balloon Man. And, ooh, it comes with a sub-commander, Arabella Bandadal, in foil too, so that's really cool. I know there's a bunch of combos you can do with Jolly Balloon Man. He's just so generically good. You can do a lot of things with his abilities. Let's see what this deck is trying to do. Enter the battlefield effects because you're making a 1/1 flying token. Awkward Percussionist. This one seems cool. Person of interest. Oh, it makes a detective, so when you clone this, it just keeps making tokens for you. Genasi Enforcers. Ooh, this one has Myriad in common. That's insane. Mogwar Marshal makes a goblin when it ETBs. That's cool. Cacophony Scamp. Proliferate. Oh, when it dies, it shoots its power, so it's a repeatable thing. Landfall Battlecry, which I believe stacks, it says here. Each instance of Battlecry triggers separately. Ooh, tap all creatures you don't control. That's like a finisher. This might come out of nowhere. It comes for a hefty 5. So what this looks to do is really cheap yet, functional creatures would enter the battlefield effects. And I believe this also has got a bunch of rooms too. I like me some common rooms. These are cool. Enchantments. Oh, here we go. We get some untapped shenanigans because Balloon Man's effect is it's like a fairer Kiki Jiki where it costs 1. But also has the tap ability. So you need mana for it, and it causes him to tap, so you can't just keep spamming that nonsense. So I assume it doesn't have the big old budget untap effects, because some of those cards are kind of expensive. So it's supplementing that with draft chaff combat tricks that have the untap ability. So that's kind of cool. I think this one is just for protection, for indestructible. Yeah, that seems like it. Untap all creatures you control. Draw a card. That seems cool. It doesn't have stuff like Village Bellringer, it seems. But that might be an easy upgrade if you can find that. There's Spree. Untap all creatures target player controls. Most likely you. Untap effect again. Untap effect yet again. This one is more like just removal. Oh hey, MDFC, spell land, it's a combat trick, double strike. Mana base. So I did kind of lie. I'm pretending that I've not opened this deck yet, but I actually have. And there are some cards that I kind of want to remove, and I put them here at the back. One of them is Skoa Ember Mage. Like, he's cool, but this particular grandeur effect doesn't work because you can only have 1 copy of Skoa in the deck, so we're gonna ignore that. He deals 4 damage to any target when it ETBs, which is fine. His stat line is kind of fine, but he costs a whopping 6 and double red too. And because he's a legendary, the balloon, I assume you'll keep this instead of the balloon because the balloon will sacrifice it in the turn. It doesn't even get a chance to attack because the tokens that Balloon Man makes have flying, which is good. And I don't know, I'm not really feeling Skoa Ember Mage. He's alright, but I feel like we can supplement him with another card. And this one is... On-Gang Commander's cool, but the fact that he creates the tokens on cast, that's what I'm not a fan of. So you can't really just keep making these Eldrazi spawn tokens. I think you can replace this for Siege Gang Commander, which makes tokens on ETB. But that is a rare. And as far as I could tell, aside from the Jolly Balloon Man himself, this has no other rares in the deck. Which, you know, for 12 bucks, I kind of understand. For 100 cards, I think that's okay. So this is cool, but I think this can go. Boros Elite, I think, is okay, but it doesn't scale well in Commander games, especially given how fast the format is at the moment. Like, I've also done a few tests with this deck, and Boros Elite does work. It's just that in the long run, it's hard to get away with the little effect it has, because at the very least, it's going to become a 3/3, and you can only harass your opponent so much with a 3/3 and no other keywords or anything. So it's cool. It's a 1-drop. It doesn't do anything if you turn it into a balloon, because it needs to attack with 2 other creatures to get the pump. So the balloon will get the pump effect, so it can become potentially a 3/3 with flying. But I think that's too conditional for the Boros Elite. Inspiring Unicorn. I'm just not a fan of it. I like this card. Don't get me wrong. This thing is... This thing was good in draft and limited. I enjoy this card, but for 4 mana for a 2/2, I mean, it does pump itself, so it will become a 3/3 because creatures you control get +1/+1. So if you turn this into a balloon, at the very least, it'll become a 2/2 with flying. But you know, I feel like for its cost, it can be replaced with something better. This one I've been contemplating about. What I don't like about this card is the hefty 5 mana and double white. It does pump itself, +2/+1, but same as the Unicorn, I feel like it's a bit too costly and a bit too slow. It would be nice to get a 3/2 flyer every turn, but it's not bad. I'm gonna say again, especially like for a common, it's not bad. It's just that I think this, especially with the mana cost, you can supplement this for something else maybe. Because I'm planning to add cards from my collection. I'm just gonna see what I have on hand and see what I can make work. Osmium Blast, I think it's okay, but you know, the combat trick removal thing, especially for a one-off card, I think is a bit, you know, not as impactful in Commander, so this can easily go. Sonar Strike also, it's the same thing, the deal 4 to attacking or blocking or tap creature. The gain 3 life, there's no Bat Maker cards in here, so you're not gonna get that effect. Martial Glory, I think it's fine, but again, you're mainly using this for the attack buff, and for, you know, for Commander, this is just gonna gain you some ire from the one person you're gonna smack with this, because it's also target creature instead of every creature. And as cool as this foil Sacred Fire is, 2 damage, I think, is not enough for, you know, Commander. So how many cards is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cards. I've actually prepared upgrades already from my collection, because I'm planning to give this deck to a friend, and of course I want it to tussle, you know, with our decks, despite it being ultra budget. But hopefully, well, I've mentioned I've done tests, and these have actually come up to be relevant enough to make this quite the threat. So first thing I wanted to add is Call for Unity. I think this card is cool. It's a little slow, but since your balloons will benefit off Anthem effects, and you're guaranteed the Revolt anyway with the balloon sacrificing at end of turn, this is gonna scale very well with your 1/1 flying tokens, and it's tough to block them balloons. So we're putting in Call for Unity in there. A very cheap board wipe. The only thing that this hits on your side of the field is the Balloon Man himself, which he has haste, so, and I assume he's gonna get removed anyway, given how strong of an ability he has. But the fact that he has haste means if you can recast him and have 1 mana to spare, you can just do the thing immediately. I think having a board wipe, which for the most part, doesn't hurt you as much. Is okay to include, plus it only costs 3, so that goes in there. Mentor of the Meek, this thing needs more draw. It doesn't have as many enter the battlefield draw creatures as I want. Like, there are 2 new ones, one of which is from Foundations. I think that could definitely go on this deck. I just don't have any at the moment. And I guess whoever I'm giving this to hopefully will get the foresight to get those cards themselves. But Mentor of the Meek is going to be one of the bigger draw engines. Light of the Legion, I'm not sure. I just feel like I want to put this into more decks. The Mentor is not going to matter, but when it dies, it pumps all your white creatures permanently with the +1/+1 counter. So not only are you pumping, I mean, your balloon will try to, you know, at least poke for damage each and every turn because it's going to die at the end of turn anyway. So might as well also pump the rest of your creatures, like with All for Unity. That's an Anthem effect. This is a pseudo Anthem effect as well. Hopefully that can find a home in this deck. Or Cartographer. This will just search for planes. I mean, if you need ramp, this will almost always guarantee something. You don't mind just letting this attack, you know, you get maybe a few activations, then you're kind of good. It also searches for non-basic planes, so there's that. Keep that in mind if you have like a stronger mana base. Or upgrades. So I think this is a fairly decent common that you can add. It'll make 2/2 Vigilant White Knight tokens, which is, you know, nothing to scoff at. The Vigilance can matter. The 2 power, 2 toughness is kind of strong if you go wide. It's an easy include. Like, I also have a ton of these, so why not, right? Ardent Elementalist, since this has a ton of instants and sorceries that untap the Balloon Man and maybe add a few, you know, indestructible effects or pump effects, this might come in handy. I've got this to go off enough once during the few tests I've done. But again, you know, I'm just giving this for free anyway to a friend, so hopefully they find use for it. This one also, just with the Knight, it makes a 2/2 flying token whenever it dies. It can't attack as a balloon, but I think Dragon Egg is a very nice common, and I've included the token for it, which apparently is hard to find nowadays. More weenies. Sky Knight Vanguard, I think, is a cool card. It makes a 1/1 whenever it attacks, which the tokens have haste, the balloon tokens. It has inherent flying of its own, so it might get away with making a few tokens by itself. And there is another creature here where whenever it sees a creature with power 2 or less enters, it pumps someone, if not the entire group. So that's cool. You can abuse this. You get maybe 2 enter the battlefield triggers with the 2 tokens if this and the balloon get to attack. And I've included the token for it as well. So those are the upgrades I have for the Jolly Balloon Man deck. I haven't mentioned this earlier, but I got this deck, and actually another one, from a online card shop called Oron's Card Collection. They make commander decks and standard decks out of your common super cheap draft chaff. And for the most part, they do seem playable. Like, the deck does what it wants to do for the most part, albeit very slow. And to be honest, it reminded me of playing Commander like back when I started in 2018, which was reaching turn 7 to 10 above was normal in our playgroup. So it's nice, it's fun. I have no idea how well it'll do against most powerful decks, but hey, at the very least, there's a core here that you can upgrade. And I did also get another deck from them. It's not available anymore. I got the Winter Misanthropic Guide, which is the Jund Delirium dude with the hand hate. If you want to see the decks that he has for offer, or on Card Collection on Shopee, if you're from the Philippines, seems very cool. I know someone who buys decks here too. He bought like the Transformers ones, which were kind of cool. I've also posted the deck list to Moxfield if you want to see it. The deck, I think, at its lowest costs around $7, $7.41, which is fine, but for the most part, if you get it like mid, it's gonna be around $24, $25 to almost $30, depending on the store. So I think $12 with the basic lands included is kind of very cool by itself. And you get this plastic 3D printed deck box, which again is better than nothing. It does come with the Planeswalker symbol, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I dropped the Jolly Balloon Man. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this little budget deck thing. That's cool. There's another one I need to show off, which is the winter one, which will most likely be for me, if not for someone else, if we can find someone to pull into this rabbit hole of, you know, Magic the Gathering. But I'm having fun with it. It is a little tougher to pilot. This one is, I think, better for the newer players. It's a lot of fun. It's simple. It smashes face well enough, it seems. I can't wait to try this and do more tests before we actually hand it off to our friend. Hopefully they enjoy it as well. And if you enjoy the video, do a like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube things. Maybe I'll do more of these, but definitely for now, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.